What's up, guys? In one of the recent live stream, by the way, we have live stream Q&A every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. One of the questions was, what plugin sounds like analog? And I thought it would make a cool video, so let's see what plugins I think sounds like analog. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixPass TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, check the info box down below for free plugin special discounts and offers. Visit mixpasstv.com to book mix and mastering with me, private lessons, mix consultations, and all the other services. In there you will find also all the mix and mastering courses. If you want to access the exclusive videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixPass TV member, get all the perks. And if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Let's get to the video. Alright, this is gonna be a quick list, kind of a warm-up for the upcoming annual MixPass TV plugin awards that we do around Black Friday. We start with the first one, Tone Project Michelangelo in collaboration with Handy Amps. This plugin definitely gives me the analog feeling, because this is what I want to do in this video. It's not really about how close the plugins are to their analog real life counterpart. For me, when I use analog, there's a certain feeling. When music passes through analog, it makes me feel a certain way. And there are some plugins, the one that I'm putting in this list, that give me the same feeling. And I want to know what your favorite analog sounding plugins are in the comments down below. Michelangelo impressed me from the very first moment I tried it. The EQ itself sounds amazing. The broad bands are so very musical, but the saturation on board, and it has several. We have the tube comp here, we have the aggression knob. They all sound so real and organic to me. And on top of that, Tone Project packed each band with transient body function, mid-side function, and even a dynamic EQ. This plugin, I think it's the flagship of the best of both worlds. I love everything about this EQ, but the low band and the high band in particular are my favorite. And you can see my starting point. I start with no aggression, clean calibration, zero tube comp, and my tube blend is 90% a pentode. Even though the saturation is one of my favorite things about this EQ, I always start fairly clean because it's already colored to begin with.
Yo, snotty nose, catch karate blows like Johnny Bones. They be rushing to get your body home. Blocky fold, lock and load. It's off at the top of your dome like artichokes. These artists choke, can't stand this kind of smoke. Adios. Que pasa, nasa, vámonos. Ya toca lado, I know y'all grinding dominoes. Y'all need to stop it and go stocking or go mop the flow. Rapido, I'm a capo, do tutti capi. You are now. Hey yo, face, let's put the heat on. These weak mouths with them cheap rhymes. Beat on these peons, still I see him holding up peace signs. Y'all better be wise and behave, cause these guys will be keeping stinging your retards like fucking with a beehive. You never be able to see, how can y'all deny? Shit, I was rhyming the beats when y'all were like knee high. Brody called me and he like, you got an hour of free time? I'm like, find me a beat and I'll probably body it each line.
It's just how euphonic this EQ is, and it puts you more in a musical mindset than, oh, I'm using an EQ, I'm gonna be precise, right? It's just broad stroke, a lot of vibe, a lot of color. Love Michelangelo. The other one is still from Tone Project and is the first plugin that Tone Project released, and is Unizoom. This compressor is absolutely insane, but I included this in the list for a specific reason, which is kind of the opposite of their other offering, Michelangelo. Besides the Hyge function, which is the transformer, which is very subtle, we can consider Unizoom a pretty transparent compressor, right? So this is not about the color. This is about that feeling that I was talking at the beginning that is very hard to describe. But the way it sounds, it gives me the same feeling of some of the high-end compressors that I have here. And you can dig into crazy settings if you want, and it has more control than any other mastering compressor that I can think of. But even the basic controls are enough to put this one at the top. I'll show you really quick a starting point.
It's all over creation. That's why bonus sing on the moderation. On behalf of all the people down there, so when you suffer, one way ball out to all the living get tougher. Them judgment throw them yota. Talk it loud, me not stutter. Every morning, big guys wake up to bread and butter, and not give a damn about the people in the gutter. We sleep last night with no supper, and all the while the shit still keep on getting tougher. Me no know about them gone. Yo, them no care about the newborn or the hungry boat.
Love it. And with Unison, it's not really about the color, it's about the action, how he handles the material, how he handles complex material. It always sounds very natural and is a different type of glue from the glue that you get from color, right? We can push it a little more.
This are the state of the nation. Babylon of the people in a sticky situation. It's all over creation. That's why money sing about the moderation. On behalf of all the people down there, so when you suffer, one way ball out to all the living get tougher. Them judgment word them me utter. Talk it loud, me not stutter. Every morning, big guys wake up to bread and butter. And not give a damn about the people in the gutter. We sleep last night with no.
Very, very cool. And these were the default settings for the edit style, the advanced controls, Unison, Tone Project. Let's go to the next one. And by the way, I'm not spending too much time on each plugin because for most of them, we have dedicated reviews already on the channel, but you will see there are also some new entries that I just got recently, and there will be many new entries that we haven't seen on the channel before on the upcoming Plugin Award Series video. The next one is Complex 760 Limiter by Kive Audio. This one is basically Kive emulation of the famous Complex compressor limiter, a unit that for the longest time was a secret weapon for vocals and drums. And Kive Audio that I recently discovered make great plugins. We'll see some other in the upcoming award videos, but this one in particular was very convincing, and I'm very familiar with the original unit, and it definitely gave me that organic feeling. So much power, and it's got this, I want to say, dusty kind of color that is really cool. I especially like the tone knob because it's a really quick way to rebalance, because you can hear the more you push it, the more it dirty up the top end, which is really good for drums when you want to smash it so the cymbals don't come out too much, and you can quickly rebalance the tone. But this is a weapon when used on parallel for drums, for vocals. It's really a nice compressor. All right, I'm not just gonna do compressors, EQs, and saturators in this video. This is not even an analog reverb, it's a hardware reverb, the original unit, the Lexicon 480. But Relab LX 480s is overall one of the closest emulation to the hardware thing, regardless the category. This reverb is awesome, and I actually came late to the party because it's been out a lot longer than when I started trying it. Since then, I've been using it on so many things, from snares, vocals, drums, guitars. It's really a great reverb. It's got a lot of settings if you want to dig in. Let's go a couple of algorithms really quick.
So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? Kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So, before you go, so before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you were the storm to weather. So, before you go.
Really great. I love this reverb. Next one, Mixwave CA70S was the first plugin that I got from Mixwave, and the door was open. After that, I fell in love with the brand because really all their plugins, VLC, the new Electrodyne EQ, and the new Level, all of them have this really analog feeling to them. I actually want to say that when talking to my friend Keith, This video was partially inspired by it because we were talking about mixed wave plugins, and we kind of agree that they all have this patina, if you want. That is something hard to describe that we very often associate with analog hardware. I picked the CA70S because it was the first one, and because just by number of instances is the one that I use the most, because this is a preamp emulation with a couple of extra functions, and it's a great no-brainer warmifier. So I have these 4 tracks here, and I have 1 instance on each track, 2 melodies, an 808, and drums. Let's hear a window without. We'll start without. It is quite impressive. So I didn't tweak much because it really has few controls. We basically, other than the input and output, we have a low knob ±4, and we have the NF knob, which is basically how much of the top end you want to round off. And I didn't touch the low end on the 2 melody sounds, and I just added a little bit of low end on the kick first. We had it a +4 and the 808 a +2, and then I switched it, and you can hear how you can even adjust or rebalance your low end specifically on a mix just using this. But it's not just that, it's just this color that it has. It just adds this oomph to the material that I personally really like it. Next one is Acoustica Audio Elray 2. Acoustica Audio has many plugins that feel analog, but I picked this one because this one is slightly more satisfying because it is a color compressor, and it really adds a nice weight at the bottom, and it actually reminds me of my analog RSC VM1 Varimu compressor that I have here on my racks, which is one of the creamiest, one of the thickest compressors that I have in my racks. And the Elray 2 really gives me a similar feeling. There's not much to it. This is a pretty simple compressor, attack release. In version 2 we have this debumpify, which is really good, and I use this one on bass a lot, although maybe not metal bass, some more of a ballad kind of bass. On vocals, female vocals, this one is great. It's great on piano, acoustic guitar, not necessarily aggressive stuff, but more musical and slow paced stuff. But it sounds great. Let's give it a pass on a vocal.
I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, and then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain. Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all. Let my guard down, then you pulled the rug. I was getting kinda used to being someone you loved.
One thing that I really love about this compressor is you can see the vocal here, how dynamic it is, right? And this is usually something that I would take care of with 2 compressors, right? Because if you set up the compressor to the average threshold, when it hits this tall peaks here, it kind of pins down too much, it swings too much, right? I have several videos where I show my 2-stage compression approach, but with this one I kind of like it because when it over-compress, so to speak, those tall peaks, it actually sounds really good. It has that old school vibe. It almost sits the vocal a little behind. Let's hear it for a second.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all.
This is without.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall,
especially the first high syllable.
Now the day bleeds into nightfall, and you're not here to get me through it all.
It has a really nice squeeze, and it's one of the few compressors where I actually like to hear the, so to speak, over compressing action. Let's get to the next one. It's kind of known that I have a soft spot for Soft 2 plugins. See what I did there? But they have some of the best one-to-one emulation to analog, and I had to do some honorable mention on this before showing you my pick, because simple, these plugins really feel very much like analog to me. The TLA 100A is one of my most used compressors for this style. I have it actually on my console one in my custom channel next to the SSL 4K. Harmonix is a great saturator that can add that feeling to pretty much everything just because of how versatile it is. Chandler Germanium, this again, I think it's really hard to emulate because of the specific and thick color that the hardware unit has. I actually wanted to buy the hardware, and then when they released this one, it kind of scratched the itch for me. And then the Curve Bender, this is again, regardless how close is to the real thing, an amazing colored EQ. But my pick ended up being the bus processor. And the compressor is based on the classic VCA SSL style compressor, and it sounds very gluey, it sounds organic, it sounds legit. But on top of that, this plugin also have dedicated saturation, and it has many other accessory features, we can say, and they all have that feeling because they benefit from the R&D done with the previous plugin. This is kind of the culmination of all the various analog emulation. It sounds really good. Let's give it a run. I mean, the way this thing punches, it's really, really impressive. Even if you take away the saturation that I use a little bit, just the compressor had that VCA classic punch, more like a slap in the face, this one. There's very close to hardware VCA compressor. I really, really love this plugin. Is actually one of the few that I consider putting on my 2-bus, regardless how much analog I have. Bus processor, soft tube. All right, next one is again, not a compressor, not an EQ, not a saturator, but it has saturation built in. D16 repeater, one of my most used favorite delays. It has many delay models, and many of them emulate analog things. For example, cassette tape, copy cube, digital 42, emulations of radio, space delay, tape. On top of that, we have this control, the spread, 0A and B, and analog, that just adds flavor to it and really sealed the deal for me.
I stand outside in the rain. I take the physical pain. I stand outside in the rain. I take the physical pain. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want. I stand outside in the rain. I take the physical pain. At the end of the day, the girl's what I want.
I absolutely love it. All right, we go back to Dynamics and EQ all in one. This is a channel strip Avalon by Kazrock. We have a 2 preamp emulation, a compressor, and the EQ. And the EQ, it's basically the reason because I put this one here, not because the preamp section and the compressor are not just as great, but personally, even the Avalon, the original unit 737, the compressor is not something that I used to use or use very often. The preamp though is great, but the EQ is, I think, the strong element in this plugin, especially the top end. Let's give it a try.
Ain't no sunshine on this side of town. You could get lost and never be found. Fuck it, I'ma ride out till my fucking time's out. So I gotta make it. It's do or die now, and my soul is sainted. Should've been out by now, running out of patience, losing my mind now. Feel like I gotta watch my back, I'm a danger. stranger. Used to be homies, some changed up, hard working, now to say look, just caked up. I made up my mind, I gotta get the bag. Shorty, I am not the one, so don't you get attached. And where I am from, it's like we never had. So if I gotta split, then I get the better half. And I just paint the
I mean, that top end is really something special. This is one of those units that when you listen to the mix without it, you say like, nothing's wrong, the mix is ready to go. And then you put this one on, you bump that top end a little bit and you go like, this is a lot better. And it's pretty impressive. I really, really like the Kazrock Avalon. Next one, Metric Haler Make Believe Studio. Many tried, and I feel only them kind of captured the essence of the Holy Grail Soundtech 432. Various ladder after, there's several variation of it, master and EQ. Now, we're not debating how close this will sound if compared to the actual $20,000+ unit, which I actually just recently sold for my friend Howie Weinberg. He had one until a few months ago. The one, the Holy Grail, where he mastered all the golds and platinum. He came here, he heard my SPLPQ, he liked it so much, and he wasn't really using the old Soundtech, but this is to say, I'm very fresh with my memory. But this one capture and it gives me that feeling, especially the shells, the top and bottom, is a really, really impressive plugin. Some more mellow material.
I'll seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. I see right through you any hour. I won't soothe your pain. I won't ease your strain. You'll be waiting in vain. I've got nothing for you to gain. Taking it slow, feeding the flame, shuffling the cards of your game.
It's just, it opens up the mid-range and the top end. It's really, really cool. We are at the last one on this list. There's others, of course, but like I said, I left some for the upcoming MixBus TV plugin awards around Black Friday, a series of videos. We're going to do categories, compressors, saturators, EQ, and so on. I want to know which one you think are the most analog sounding plugins in the comments down below. Our last one is from Universal Audio, and specifically the 176. I really, really love this compressor, and I really feel that thickness and color that I get from analog, to the point that sometimes this compressor is a little too thick, and that's when I pull it up and I might not use it because it actually is really colored. But when it works, it's really unique. I don't think anything comes close for that specific sound. See, the one thing that I really like about the 76 is it's really versatile for being this type of compressor. This is a volume compressor, and you can take the both settings, especially on acoustic material like that and vocals. Fast attack, kind of fast release, and be a little more jumpy because it's still musical, and maybe hit the tallest peak, or keeping the material under the curve the entire time, a little slower release, a little slower attack, and just pushing the input and really bringing up that color. I think it's really cool compressor. And I think this is it for the video. Like I said, let me know which are the most analog sounding plugins for you in the comments down below. If you like the video, please don't forget to leave a like, grab some merch, or use a super thanks, support the channel. If you want to book mix and mastering with me, go to mixbusstv.com. In there you can also find all the mix and mastering courses, and you can book mix consultations and private lessons. If you want to access the exclusive videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixBuzTV member, get all the perks. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, stay safe, see you next time.